we'll talk about Nancy Pelosi's sad impeachment. She obviously got the vote through so she could bring the articles of impeachment to Trump, and this was how she characterized it before she signed them.
Today, in a bipartisan way, the House demonstrated that no one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. That Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to our country, and that once again, we honored our oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help us God. And now, I sadly, and with a heart broken over what this means to our country, of a president who would incite insurrection, will sign the engrossment of the article of impeachment.
I just don't believe a word of what she's saying. I don't believe that she's sad. I don't believe Donald Trump incited insurrection. And we'll look at the protesters again shortly, but I just don't believe that she's sad. She's been doing this since the very beginning of 2017, since his inauguration. She's been doing everything in her power. Various, the Russia investigation,
saying the election was hijacked,
and all of the various investigations that have gone on and beaten everything into the dirt and found nothing. I'm amazed that they found nothing on Trump. I expected them to find something on Trump, but they found nothing, and they got their day in court. But anyway, when they say most bipartisan impeachment ever, that's a phrase that's doing a lot of hard work, right? Because the most bipartisan impeachment in previous eras was Bill Clinton being impeached, where 5 Democrats had defected to impeach him. In this case, it's 10 Republicans. So you've got hundreds and hundreds of them, 10 of them have defected, 10 anti-Trump Republicans, who incidentally are Liz Cheney of Wyoming, Jamie Herrera Beutler of Washington, Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio, John Katko of New York, Adam Kinzinger of Illinois, Peter Major of Michigan, Dan Newhouse of Washington, Tom Rice of South California, Fred Upton of Michigan, and David Valandio of California. And these are the people that the MAGA folks should be primarying in their next elections. If they think, and I'm not saying these people are traitors or anything like that, what I'm saying is they're idiots. They are people who do not realize that they cannot ever get a fair hearing from the Democrats, and thinking that you can be like, oh yeah, we'll join them and then we'll be protected because there's clearly a lot of force with them at the moment. If you think you're going to remain safe like this, it's not going to work. You will be temporarily sheltered until everyone else has been erased and you are on the list next.
The Democrats will protect me.
Yeah.
Are you high?
Yeah.
The Democrats want you gone. I don't know how they could be this stupid.
And they just say it outright. You have to go. That's our version of inclusivity.
Yeah.
Stupid. Absolutely stupid. The Republicans, if the Republicans haven't become aware yet, after the way that Donald Trump has been treated, and again, Donald Trump with massive approval rating in his own party, thank goodness, if Republican lawmakers do not understand that the Democrats have gone mental and are trying to purge you, then there's no saving you. Everything is on the table now. Deplatforming the President of the United States. I'm not going to go, we'll keep going, but we'll show you how everything is on the table, right? And the first thing is just the open lies. We've covered this plenty. Trump did not incite violence. And again, Trump posts yesterday to the whitehouse.gov thing, because he doesn't have a Twitter account, what should have been a tweet, presumably. In light of more reports of demonstrations, I urge that there must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism of any kind. That is not what I stand for. It's not what America stands for. I call on all Americans to help ease tensions and calm tempers. Thank you.
I love how he writes like he tweets.
Yeah.
Look at that, with the capitals.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep. And I love the little thank you at the end there as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's not wrong. His whole tenure, he called for law and order, and he was the only person in public life who, with any significance, was calling it Antifa consistently for the entire time. And even in the debates with Joe Biden, it's like, someone's got to do something about the radical left. Well, Joe Biden is. He's putting them into positions of power.
He literally said someone's got to do something about Antifa. Someone's got to deal with these guys because these guys are left guys or whatever the hell the thing was. Yeah. And Joe Biden's response was, a member of your FBI said that Antifa were an idea. Joe, imagine if I turned around and said, well, Nazism's just an idea.
Yeah. But I mean, this idea assaulted Ted Wheeler in a restaurant.
Yeah.
How drove him out of his home set up autonomous zones around the United States. I mean, Joe Biden's not wrong. It is an idea, but ideas don't exist independent of the minds of people. You know, if a person's not reading or understanding the idea, then the idea may as well not exist. But anyway, there's Trump yesterday again also put out a message calling for peace and reconciliation on the White Front.
Another call for violence, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But this is the thing. Trump has actually had quite a consistent message here. I have yet to find Trump calling for any violence. Let's watch it.
These are tense and difficult times. The efforts to censor, cancel, and blacklist our fellow citizens are wrong, and they are dangerous. What is needed now is for us to listen to one another, not to silence one another. All of us can choose by our actions to rise above the rancor and find common ground and shared purpose. We must focus on advancing the interests of the whole nation, delivering the miracle vaccines, defeating the pandemic, rebuilding the economy, protecting our national security, and upholding the rule of law. Today, I am calling on all Americans to overcome the passions of the moment and join together as one American people. Let us choose to move forward united for the good of our families, our communities, and our country. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Yeah, that's incitement, according to Twitter, presumably. So, I mean, I think Trump's been putting out fair messaging, but I mean, he's been widely deplatformed. So who knows how many people are hearing it, which is precisely why they deplatformed him. Anyway, yesterday we were talking about how Mitch McConnell was apparently thrilled about this. Well, he's kind of rebuffed these rumors, saying that he's not going to rush, as Trump is entitled to a fair trial, which means that the trial will conclude after Biden has been inaugurated. So even if they find him guilty, he won't be removed. And he himself believes that Trump has committed impeachable acts. So, I mean, I guess good for Mitch for allowing him the day in court.
Pathetic.
Yeah. I mean, the Democrats have been trying to rush this through, trying to get like emergency things done because they don't want a day in court. I mean, maybe Trump can present some useful evidence in this trial.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Him laying out, okay, here's me calling for peace, here's me calling for peace, here's me calling for peace, here's me calling for peace.
Why?
Where's the violence? Tell me where the violence is.
Not just that, you know, like what are these people complaining about? This, and this. Explain it, you know? But anyway, so this basically, right, this false narrative that is being, the pseudo-reality that is being portrayed by the media has led them essentially into eating their own tail and trying to get the American public to believe narratives that are just ridiculous, such as this one.
232 members of the House of Representatives, including 10 Republicans, have voted in favor of this sentence. President Trump gravely endangered the security of the United States and its institutions of government. That's a powerful indictment of a sitting president, even though he only has 7 days left in office.
It is stunning, just as we were stunned when we were in this studio 1 week ago, watching people wearing MAGA hats, carrying Trump banners, storming into that Capitol, breaking windows. Nancy Pelosi is going to speak moments from now, standing at the podium that we saw one of those rioters trying to steal. It's the very same podium. She's doing it for a reason, to send a signal here. And so on this defining day, the President of the United States has been impeached, and the charge is that he essentially cooperated, orchestrated, organized an attack on his own government. Think about that. I mean, think about that.
Yeah, think about that. It sounds ridiculous because he
orchestrated an attack on his own government. It's just a lie. Just an open lie.
Yeah. And like there are lots of people who believe the mainstream narrative as well. I've been following like, you know, boomer and like normie social media groups and various things on Facebook, and they all believe that this is completely true. And I will post, you know, well, what about this guy? Is this guy a black shirt? And they're convinced this was a deliberately planned fascist takeover by black shirts, and literally in those terms. And they'll just be like, we don't care, deny. It's like, okay, but you know, these are people who are at the protests. Anyway. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have been totally vengeful about this. This is Chuck Schumer's view of what should happen to the people at the protest. Like, the hundreds of thousands of people at this protest.
Was it banning planes?
Nope, nearly.
Any of those who are inside the Capitol should not be able to fly and should be placed on the no-fly list. We are calling on the authorities, FBI, TSA, Department of Homeland Security, to put them on the no-fly list immediately. Amidst the continued threat of future violence online, the federal government's own concerns, I spoke to Director Ray.
Sorry, I'm laughing because all right, he's like talking to his temp. Okay, I need some visual aids for my speech. No fly list. What can you do?
No planes.
You didn't need that. What the fuck are you doing?
But I mean, why can't they just be charged with crimes as usual, like normal people?
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. If you broke something, then fine, be arrested, be charged. I'm not saying that none of these people should be charged for anything that they did that was wrong. Trespassing in the Capitol building is probably some kind of crime. So do it.
There's things you can charge them with.
Yeah, I know. I agree. It was a riot, at least in parts. It was a riot. But what I don't agree that it was is a bloody insurrection. It wasn't.
I mean, not to mention, are we then going to put every member of Antifa who's engaged in rioting on a no-fly list?
The people who literally say "Death to the United States."
Because this no-fly list is going to get pretty big.
Yeah, it is.
Of course, it's not. It's only going to be one side.
But again, China-style solutions here from the Democrats really makes you think.
Let's close down their bank accounts. Let's close down their ability to fly, buy tickets.
Yep.
Until their social credit increases.
Exactly. But anyway, I mean, like, this is an interview that CNN did with one of the people who was inside the Capitol, a rioter. I guess we'll watch it and see how much of a black shirt this guy seems to be.
Yeah, we went in there, and then I walked in, and there's just a whole bunch of people lighting up in some Oregon room. I don't know if it's there's tons of Oregon paintings, but they were smoking a bunch of weed in there. And then we moved it down, showing the statues. Cops are very cool. They're like, hey, guys, have a good night. Well, some of them, it's just crazy. It's really weird. You can see that some of them are on our side.
And then they cut to another protester. But it's just like, this is a black shirt, is it? It's some idiot from the internet who can't believe that he's actually in this place. He's like, oh, wow, this is cool. Look at those people smoking weed over there.
Like, when you interview members of Antifa or any other terrorist organization, they're ideologically possessed.
Yeah, they have a goal, they have a direction they want to go in. They'll give you a series of grievances, and things like that.
They'll just spout off their ideology to you. This guy, there was nothing there.
Yeah. They're just people who want to turn out to support Trump. I mean, NuanceBro went down and interviewed them as well. And so shout out to NuanceBro. And let's just play one of the clips.
What are some things, like, you support the president, obviously, right?
Obviously.
Sure. And what are some things about him that you support?
Well, for one thing, he lowered taxes. He's building a wall. He's a Christian man. Maybe.
But hang on, that was, I took that one in particular because a lot of them are like, well, I'm just here to support Trump. So what's the plan? Well, I don't really have a plan. We're just going to support Trump and wave our flags, right? But that guy I really felt was very representative because it looked like he had a Confederate flag, but that's actually the state flag of Missouri or something like this, right?
They changed it recently.
They did, but
he's got one and all one.
But he was literally like, well, I didn't change it, because this is his flag, right? But that gives you an example of the kind of person you're dealing with. They're not irrational. They don't think that Trump is a glowing god who's perfect. He's a Christian man, maybe. But the point, and he's right, and what's interesting is that NuanceBro, like, he's a good questioner, right? He's good at getting in people's cracks, and a lot of these people actually have quite good answers to him, where he's like, right, okay, well, fair enough, like building the wall, lowering taxes, and a bunch of them could give because he, asking people like what policy sort of thing often puts them on the spot, and they're like, oh god, but the Trump supporters are all like, no, I like this and this that he's done, and he's not perfect, but yeah, he's done a pretty
great
good job.
ones when you go to these these Antifa or anti-racist protests. You ask them, what's he done that's racist?
Dunno.
Nada.
Yeah.
Blank faces.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, so this is why, like, chaps like NuanceBro doing this are doing good work. But he managed to interview the Q shaman, and I mean, like, I don't know that he's not a white nationalist or anything, which is the accusation that's being made because of his Norse tattoos. But I mean, like, listen to him speak, and let's hear it.
Sure. And what are we trying to achieve?
Well, what we are achieving is not what we are trying to achieve. What we are achieving is winning this spiritual war. You see, what we are doing here in Washington, D.C. is affecting the quantum realm. What we are doing here in Washington, D.C. is affecting the whole of the world, whether or not we know it or not, whether or not it looks like it or not. We are on the front lines of a spiritual warfare that is literally millennia old.
The quantum realm.
I mean, if this guy is a white nationalist, I'm not going to take him any more seriously.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, is that where white nationalism's at now? You know? Like, I don't know. I don't follow it very closely. But I would suspect he's just a kind of QAnon person who has this mythological view of the world, and this is how he expresses it. I mean, you know, he comes off as a crazy kook, but he doesn't come off as evil. Right, he doesn't come off as a black shirt who's trying to overthrow the government. He comes off as someone who's probably well-meaning, just kind of batty, you know. But yeah, so basically, I would say these are the people of the internet. I mean, like Florida man has been charged. This was a few days ago. We probably already covered it actually. But again, I just want to compare Chuck Schumer, CNN narratives, insurrection, overthrowing to the people, the actual, the look of them. They're just
the video evidence.
Yeah, the video evidence, the pictures. They're just regular people who look like they're thrilled to be in the place that they see on TV. Right?
Like this guy, there is a post of him and Black Lives Matter protest a few days before saying, oh, it was, loads of fun, loads of excitement, blah, blah, blah. And then there's another one of him when he gets back from this one, and he's just like, it was an amazing day. I can't believe I got to be where I was. It sounds like some boomers had a day out.
It is. That's exactly how it sounds. And the funny thing is, he didn't even vote for Trump.
No, I mean, it was a Black Lives Matter protest. So.
But no. His name and voting history is public. As in, you can look it up on the official records. Yeah. He didn't vote for Trump. He hasn't voted since 2006. So, okay, diehard Trump supporter didn't vote for Trump. And just looks like he's happy to be having fun on a day out.
Yeah, like he is stealing a thing, and not good, and trespassing, not good. But
he's being charged. That's fine.
Is this an assassin?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Is this an assassin, or is this someone who's just frustrated with the political process and is pleased to actually finally be a part of it? Because that's the thing. I think a lot of these people have felt marginalized and not listened to, and they've been in these echo chambers for a while, as the QAnon shaman has shown. And I think they're just thrilled to finally be a part of the process. To feel incorporated into the democracy of the United States. And I think that's the thing that the Democrats are trying to stop. They don't want to hear these people. Because what they are, and I don't know whether it's come across yet, they're obviously working class. These are not the elites of the United States. These are the working class of the United States who have not been listened to. And this is why, and I said this years ago, Trump is not a Caesar, he is a Gaius Gracchus. And what's interesting is after Gaius Gracchus was essentially deposed and commits suicide, the people who take over then start undoing everything that he did, and that's what leads to Marius, Sulla, and Caesar. So basically, Joe Biden's following the exact same pattern. He's already said he's going to undo everything that Trump has done, literally going to join the Paris Climate Accord, undo all of the travel bans, from various countries, and all of the sort of things that Trump has done. He's probably going to sell the USA out China even further, etc., etc., etc. And so it's just like these are the regular people who have been ignored.
I like some people in the chat who commented on you saying he's taking a stand. Certainly is. But I was watching some of the footage to come out of the impeachment, and I wanted to include this from a senator, Mr. Tom McClintock. Don't really know him, never heard of him before.
Yep.
But he gave a great speech, so I wanted to play
let's
that.
hear it.
It's like he's been watching the podcast.
And if we'd prosecuted BLM and Antifa rioters across the country with the same determination these last 6 months, this incident may not have happened at all. Now, short of declaring war, the power of impeachment is the most solemn and consequential act that Congress can take. To use it in this manner, in the heat of the moment, with no hearings, no due process, many members phoning in their votes after a hastily called debate, exactly 1 week before a new president is to take office, trivializes this power to the point of caricature. The Democrats have won everything in sight: the House, the Senate, and the presidency. In a republic, that calls for magnanimity by the victors. Only in a banana republic does it call for vengeance. We redefined intemperate speech as a physical incapacity requiring removal from office. Today, we define it as a high crime and misdemeanor. Well, the moment any member of this body gives an impassioned speech and the lunatic fringe of their movement takes license from it, be prepared to answer to this new precedent that we established today. Now, I could cite plenty of provocative speeches made by Democrats that directly preceded violence this summer, but we've already had enough of that. You know, after 600,000 Americans had perished in the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln appealed to the better angels of our nature. He said, with malice toward none, with charity for all, let us bind up the nation's wounds. Those words were so important to the unity of our nation, they're inscribed in marble at the Lincoln Memorial. I cannot think of a more petty, vindictive, and gratuitous act than to impeach an already defeated president a week before he is to leave office.
You can see the point there. Like, if I were to take any of your speeches from Black Lives Matter, what you've just done, you've all just indicted yourselves. You know, I'm not taking anything from these people. These people's votes, where they're voting to impeach him, these aren't serious people. They're
But what's most important, and he's absolutely right? So they control the presidency, the House, and the Senate. Why are they acting like they lost? Why are they acting like they're not legitimate?
I think they are legitimate, but they don't really care about that. What they care about is total victory.
I don't know, because I think that if you think you are legitimate and you have a strong base on which to stand, he's right, you do act with magnanimity.
Yeah.
But I don't think they think they're legitimate.
I think their view of legitimacy is not, we won the election, but we're in charge.
Sure,
That's
but what I'm saying is what are the foundations upon which that is predicated, right? So if the foundations upon which that is predicated can't stand scrutiny and therefore must be kept from the courts, and everyone who would want to scrutinize them must be destroyed and marginalized, then it looks to me like the Democrats are essentially saying that we are not legitimate. But anyway, what was the next video?
Yeah, so he mentioned the point there, which is, if you guys want to talk about this, you've been propping up Black Lives Matter for how many months?
Yeah.
Well, luckily, Ted Wheeler actually gave an interview to a local press, and they asked the question, which has been on everyone's mind, to a leftist, and I wanted to play his response.
And last week, we watched as pro-Trump supporters broke into the U.S. Capitol. The insurrection was unlike anything that this country has ever seen. But just 3 weeks ago, protesters broke into the Oregon State Capitol. I have heard people at these protests elsewhere saying, well, they let it happen in Portland, so why not do it here? It seems in some way the actions of these small groups that you're referring to have set the stage for what has happened on a state level and potentially a national level. I know you said it will take time to crack down on these groups, but do we have that time?
Are you blaming me for what happened at the U.S. Capitol?
Yes.
I don't buy that.
Yes.
No,
100%.
not at all, Mayor Wheeler. What I'm saying is, what I've heard at the protests is people say, we've seen this riotous behavior in Portland, so why not do it elsewhere, like in Salem?
It doesn't make it right. Nobody gets to point to somebody else breaking the law and say, they broke the law, therefore I can break the law. That's not how it works. We're adults here. And so the bottom line is we need to hold people, first of all, we need to denounce the violence. Not just me, but everybody needs to say, look, I don't care if you're on the political left or the political right. If you're engaged in acts of violence or criminal destruction, that is unacceptable.
I'm saving that clip. The next time Antifa or Black Lives Matter do a goddamn thing, but like Ted Wheeler denounced you, Ted Wheeler denounced you, Ted Wheeler denounced you. I hate it.
But he didn't, though. He didn't, specifically say, okay, yeah, I also denounce the violence from Antifa or anything.
Sure.
They're the left and the right. All violence.
Exactly.
Like bombing.
The Jeremy Corbyn maneuver, yeah.
Never actually answering it.
And
nor did he address the point she made, which is, you let this go on, you sided with them, we got the images of you out there with them, and then people have used that as justification.
Yeah.
Do you take any responsibility?
You're not allowed to take justification for us doing the thing that you're doing.
I'm not responsible for the end goal, therefore I'm not responsible at all for the upping of the temperature.
Yeah. Ted Wheeler could have stopped Antifa on day one, and he didn't. He wanted to try and ingratiate himself into it. It didn't work. They rejected him. And it is exactly him allowing this pressure to boil that has led to the events at the Capitol. But yeah, this was a video I posted to my Telegram, which you can follow if you'd like, by Matt Gaetz. Gaetz, I don't know how it's pronounced. But yeah, let's watch it, because I can't stand it. Again, I just can't stand it.
Brags that she called for people to get in the faces of those who serve and support the president. I denounced political violence from all ends of the spectrum, But make no mistake, the left in America has incited far more political violence than the right. For months, our cities burned, police stations burned, our businesses were shattered, and they said nothing. Or they cheerled for it, and they fundraised for it, and they allowed it to happen in the greatest country in the world. Now, some have cited the metaphor that the president lit the flame. Well, they lit actual flames, actual fires, and we
Time
put them out.
expired. There will be order in the House.
I yield back.
The gentleman from Ohio, do you wish to reserve your time?
I can't stand it. The gall of them to yell at him like he's saying something wrong there. He's completely right. And you've all seen it from our coverage and everyone else's coverage. He's exactly right. They lit actual flames.
How dare you call us out? That's what those dudes are.
Yeah. How dare you try and make us be ethical people? Yeah. How dare you try and make us adhere to an ethical standard?
Well, what's that mean? Like, screw your booze? They mean nothing to me. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it. You guys have got no respect from me.